Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Jamana Tira Vanachari Jamana Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Haribo.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Can you guys tilt the screen down? I can't see anyone. Yeah. Where's Jesh?
He's studying.
He's doing some homework, Prabhu.
Okay. Nasupraya Shurabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Tata Rajastamo Bhava Kamaloba Dayasyaye Chetan Alter Navitam Stipam Sattve Prasidyati. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 18, text number 14. Konamatrithya rasavit katayam. I can't hear you guys.
Konamatripye rasavit katayam.
Mahatamai kantaparayanasya.
Mahatamai kantaparayanasya.
Nantam gunanam agunasya jangurmur.
Tam gunanam agunasya jagmur.
Yogeshwaraye bhavapadmamukya.
Yogeshwaraye bhavapadamukya.
Konamatrithya rasavit katayam.
Konamatripye rasavit katayam.
Mahatamai kantaparayanasya.
Mahatamai kantaparayanasya.
Antam gunanam agunasya jangmur.
Nantam gunanam agunasya jagmur.
Yogeshvaraye bhava padmamukhyaha.
Yogeshwaraye Bhavapadamukhyā.
Konamatripyat rasavit katayam.
Namatripye Rasavit Kathayam.
Mahatamaikanta parayanasya.
Matamaikanta Parayanasya.
Nantam gunanam agunasya jagmur.
Antam Gunanam Agunasya Jagmur.
Yogeshvaraye bhava padmamukhyaha.
Yeshwaraye Bhavapadamukhyā.
Ka-
Rasavit
Ko Namatripye
Yet rasavit katayam.
Mahatamaikanta Parayanasya
Mahatamaikanta Parayanasya.
Namtam Gunanam Agunasya Jagmur
Nantam Gunanam Agunasya Jagmur.
Yogeshvaraye Bhavapadmamukhya
Yogeshwaraye Bhavapadamukhyā.
Go ahead. Proceed.
Kaha.
Kaha.
He who is.
He who is.
He who is.
Who is he?
Nama. Oh,
Nama.
sorry. Who is he?
Who is he?
Nama.
Nama.
Specifically.
Specifically.
Ripyat.
Ripyet.
Get full satisfaction.
Get full satisfaction.
Rasavit.
Rasavit.
Expert in relishing mellow nectar.
Expert in relishing mellow nectar.
Katayam.
Ayam.
In the topics of.
In the topics of.
Mahatamaha.
Mahatamaha.
The greatest amongst the living beings.
The greatest amongst the living beings.
Ekanta.
Anta.
Exclusively.
Exclusively.
Prayanasya.
Yanasya.
Of one who is the shelter of.
Of one who is the shelter of.
Na.
Na.
Never.
Never.
Antam.
Tam.
End.
End.
Gunanam.
Gunanam.
Of attributes.
Of attributes.
Agunasya.
Gunasya.
Of the transcendence.
Of the transcendence.
Jagmur.
Jagmuhur.
Could ascertain.
Could ascertain.
Yoga Ishvaraha.
Yoga Ishvaraha.
The lords of mystic power.
The lords of mystic power.
Yea.
Yea.
All they.
All they.
Bhava.
Bhava.
Lord Shiva.
Lord Shiva.
Padma.
Padma.
Lord Brahma.
Lord Brahma.
Mukhyaha.
Mukhya.
Heads.
Heads.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Personality of God and Lord Krishna Govinda is the exclusive shelter for all living beings, and His transcendental attributes cannot even be measured by such masters of mystic powers as Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. Can anyone who is expert in relishing nectar ever be fully satiated by hearing topics about him? Purport: Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma are two chiefs of the demigods. They are full of mystic powers. For example, Lord Shiva drank an ocean of poison, of which one drop was sufficient to kill an ordinary living being. Similarly, Brahma could create many powerful demigods, including Lord Shiva. So they are Ishvars, lords of the universe, but they are not the supreme powerful. The supreme powerful is Govinda, Krishna. He is the transcendence, and his transcendental attributes cannot be measured even by such powerful Ishvars as Shiva and Brahma. Therefore, Lord Krishna is the exclusive shelter of the greatest of all living beings. Brahma is counted amongst the living beings, but he is the greatest of all of us. And why is the greatest of all living beings so much attached to the transcendental topics of Lord Krishna? Because he is the reservoir of all enjoyment. Everyone wants to relish some kind of taste in everything, but one who is engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord can derive unlimited benefit, unlimited pleasure from such engagement. The Lord is unlimited, and his name, attributes, pastimes, entourage, variegatedness, etc. are unlimited, and those who relish them can do so unlimitedly and still not feel satiated. This fact is confirmed in the Padma Purana. Ramate yogino nante satyananda chidatmani iti rama padanasyo param brahma vidiyate. The mystics derive unlimited transcendental pleasures from the absolute truth, and therefore the supreme absolute truth, the personality of God, is also known as Rama. There is no end to such transcendental discourses. In mundane affairs, there is the law of satiation, but in transcendence, there is no such satiation. Sutta Goswami desired to continue the topics of Lord Krishna before the sages of Namaskharanya, and the sages also expressed their readiness to hear from him continuously. Since the Lord is transcendence and his attributes are transcendental, such discourses increase the receptive mood of the purified audience. Om Jnana Timidandasya Jnananjana Shalakoya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svampadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Parakamam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschachadesha Tarine Namo Mahavarannaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratvase Namaha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopeshva Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sade Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha kalpatarumbischa kripa sindhurevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha ye mahanta kilaham saputa jagat bhaviti karamartha nagata ite taruchistani sevanome kartam vishudam rachanam pravinaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So in this verse today we are hearing about the nectar of Krishna Katha. In the Upanishads, we hear that Krishna is Rasavayasaha. He is always interested in tasting new and newer pleasures in the association of his loving devotees. And Krishna is known as Akila Rasamrita Murti. He possesses the deepest capacity for experiencing the infinite number of ways in which the living entity can relate with the Supreme. He possesses the most potency for accommodating the various types of relationships which devotees may have with him. And this conversation comes up between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Venkatabhatta. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quoted a verse, Siddhantas che abedepi, Shiras Krishna Svarupaya, Rasikena Rasate Krishna, Rupam Esa Rasati Stiti. I have to pause real quick. I wasn't expecting a special guest from Suva.
No, since he's the BYS, no.
Okay. Chai. So he says, Siddhantas Tvaya Bedepi, Shiras Krishna Sarupayo, Rasatena Rasate Krishna, Rupa Mesa Rasastiti. That actually, in truth, there's no difference between Lord Narayan and Krishna. Hanuman says the same thing. Shinate Janakenate, Chabeda Paramatmani, Tadapi Mami Sarveshvam, Rama Kamalalochana. He says, Chabeda Paramatmani, that Sri Janake Henate Janakinate. That as far as I'm concerned, I know that the husband of Sri Narayan and Janaki, I know they're the same person. Chabeda Paramatmani. I know they're the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But as far as I'm concerned, Tadapi Mama Sarvashvam, Rama Kamalalochana. Still, Lord Ram is my worshipable Lord. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in South India, this verse came up that there's no difference between Ram and, Narayan and Krishna. But there is a difference. Rasakena rasate Krishna, Rupam Esha rasatiti. The form which they possess exists specifically for the purpose of rasa. And of those who are able to relish rasa, Krishna is Akila Rasa Mritamurti. He has the deepest capacity for exchanges of love with his devotees. And this is significant because, as we understand in Bhagavad Gita, Mama Ishvam so Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha. Living entities are amsas of Krishna. They're eternally related with Krishna, and Krishna likes them. Krishna likes interacting with them. Krishna likes experiencing exchanges of love with them through the process of devotional service. And the living entity, as we understand from the Upanishads, is Anandomaya Bhyasyat, always seeking pleasure. So Krishna and the living entity being connected with each other eternally, living entities being part and parcels, Nityo Nityanam, Chaitanas Chaitananam, Ekobahunam, Yovididati Kaman. Living entities being eternally related with Krishna and being of the same quality of Krishna. Om Purnamadam Purnamadam. The same transcendental essence, complete essence, being similar but different in atomic proportion. Krishna is infinite, whereas the living entities are atomic. But in quality, they're the same. And that quality is Anandamaya Vyasya and Rasavayasaha. They're seeking some type of exchange. So the example which is being given of Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma in this verse is significant. Because those who fall into a materialistic conception of life, prakriti kriyamanani gune karmani sarvasaha, those who fall into thinking themselves to be the body, they misdirect their intelligence. The Srimad Bhagavatam explains, Tanvahi yasyat akshabirye antar bihardar manasa paresha. The living entity, when it's overwhelmed by identification with the material energy, it loses its internal vision. The Bhagavatam says like that. Being overly absorbed in sense gravitatory pursuits, we lose our internal vision. And that internal vision is relating with Krishna and rasa. That's what we lose. That vision is lost. That eternal pleasure is lost. But the living entity can't get away from its nature. Srila Prabhupada used to tell this story of the jackal, that the jackal once got covered in blue paint and it entered into the jungle. And when it entered into the jungle covered in blue paint, everyone thought, what kind of animal is this? And they made him the king of the jungle. And he made himself to be, very proud, very opulent. But then when he heard the other jackals yelling, his innate nature as a jackal came out. So in the same way, no matter how much our internal vision is covered, we can't get away from our Anandamaya Vyasya essential nature, our swabhava of seeking pleasure and wanting to experience pleasure. And that's because of our eternal relationship with Krishna. That's because of ourselves being part and parcel of Krishna, an amsa of Krishna. So most people in this world, in order to get that rasa, in order to get that taste, they're seeking positions similar to Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. They're seeking to be the controller. They're seeking to be the top of the class, climb the corporate ladder. They want to be seen as important. They want to be seen as valuable. They want to feel like they have some dominance and control. And this example was most acutely seen in the character of Hiranyakashipu, who, according to Prahlad Maharaj, Drista maya divivibo kiladishapanam ayurshriyam vibhavam inshana yajanoyam ye smat pita kupitahasa vrijam britablu vispurjitena lulita atuteni rasta. That Prahlad Maharaj said, I saw that my father, he possessed ayur, long life, shriyam, material opulence, ayur shriyam vibhavam aindriyam avirinchya. He possessed all these things. He possessed everything which people are looking for pleasure within this world. Hiranyakashipu possessed them to the maximum degree. He was so powerful that the Bhagavatam explains that through the lift of his eyebrow, he could decrease the rays of the sun. Can you imagine? Vijay Prabhu, you're on book distribution, and it's a hot day, and you just kind of feel a little bit upset, so you just raise your eyebrow at the sun, and it goes from 99 degrees to a cool 75. That was Hiranyakashipu. That was the potency he had. He was able to control those who were in control of everything. And this is the taste which people are looking for in this world. But Prahlad Maharaj says, Drista maya divivibo kiladishapanam, that I have seen that this hasn't worked. He goes on to say, Tas not amuse tanubritam aham asitogya ayushriyam vibhavam aindriyam avirinshat. Netan Nechami tevi luditan uruvikramena palatmano panayamam nijabritya parshvam. He said, I have seen that none of these things have worked. And furthermore, I have seen that all of these opulences, which Hiranyakashipu has gathered through his material expertise, Nechami tevi luditan uruvikramena palatmano panayamam nijabritya parshvam. They've been destroyed by your form as color. So the living entities under the bodily conception of life, they're seeking the same power as Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. They're seeking that type of potency. They're seeking that type of opulence. Yesterday when I was on book distribution, this girl said, do you know everything? I said, I don't know if I want to know everything. And then she said, why not? I said, because I'm just interested in trying to love Krishna, and I know I can't love Krishna fully. And she was kind of like struck by that because everyone wants to know everything. But I told her, I said, I don't think I could handle knowing everything. But I can, according to my capacity, I'm willing to accept that knowledge which will intensify my affection and my love for Krishna. And this affection and love, which is inherently within us, it comes through the process of hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. Tagvagi sargodana tata viplava. That through the process of hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, viplava, this nature which is currently directed towards the external energy, which has blinded our internal vision, that nature through the process of hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's turned around. Vipati ye Bhagavata Atmanasatam Katamratam Shravane Putesu Sambritam Puneti Tasmai Prabhavishnave Namaha. Punanti ye Vishvayat Vidushita Sayam Vijanti te Tat Charana Charoruhantikam. The end of the second chapter of the second canto of the Bhagavatam, it gives this beautiful description of what hearing Krishna Katha will do for you. Punantiye Bhagavata Atmanasatam. If you hear Krishna Katha from those who are fixed in the absolute truth, Katamritam Shravane Putesu Sambritam, you drink the Katamritam, the nectar of their glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Punantiye Vishaya Vidushtita Shayam. Through that process of hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, through that process of hearing Krishna Katha, one will be able to relish such an amazing joy from the process of hearing regularly that it will purify the polluted aim of life. So we experience a Viplava simply by being in touch with this message of the Srimad Bhagavatam. I recently heard my Guru Maharaj say that no matter what you're doing, even if you don't feel like you're doing enough service, even if you feel like you're not empowered the way you would like to be empowered to expand the Sankirtan mission, if you can just show up to hear the Bhagavatam the next day, just make it a priority on a daily basis. I need to be there just to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam. That's such a benefit, especially if you can hear it in the mood of Parikshit Maharaj with an intense eagerness. Because through that process of hearing, Mali say, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sajya Kabanoi, Shravanadi Chutta Chitte, Karanai Udoy. That inherent nature which we have as being a part and parcel of Krishna, that's brought out through the process of hearing and chanting the Srimad Bhagavatam. So what's being said here is that even Lord Brahma, even Lord Shiva, who possess all the opulences which people are eager for in this world, everything which people are mad after, they possess that. But what are they looking for? Where is their joy coming from? Their joy isn't coming from the power they possess. Their joy comes from the process of hearing and chanting about Krishna. So our process of Krishna consciousness is a practice. This is explained by Rupa Goswami. Krita sadya bhavat sadya bhavasa sadanadi navida nitya siddha sabhavasya prakritam hidya sadyata. That we need to engage in Kriti sadya bhavat sadya. We need to engage in activity which directs us towards the sadya of Krishna consciousness. The sadya of Krishna consciousness is always feeling separation from Krishna, as displayed by Madhavendra Puri, Aidina Dayadranatha He. This is the prayojan of our Krishna consciousness. And the process of sadhana bhakti are those activities which are meant to awaken a feeling of separation for Krishna within our life. Because when we practice Krishna consciousness in a mood of separation, when we chant the holy names in a mood of separation, when we hear the Srimad Bhagavatam in a mood of separation, we do it with more attention. Krishna bhakti rasa bhavatamati kriyatam yati katopi labhite. Tatra loyam api mulyam ekalam janmakoti sikritarana labhite. The mood of separation, it brings out this greediness within our heart. And when we have that greed for wanting to hear Krishna Katha, when we have that greed for wanting to chant the names of Krishna, the process of Krishna consciousness becomes even more effective. Srila Prabhupada explains in the teachings of Queen Kunti in the 8th chapter, the first canto of the Bhagavatam. He says that there is a quality to the utterances of the holy names and fame of the Lord, that one who is too intoxicated by the material energy, Janma Aishvir Shukta Shribir, anyone who's intoxicated by the opulence of this world, they can't feelingly cry out to Krishna. And the feeling of our chanting, the feeling of our hearing, this is what attracts Krishna's attention. So how do we inherit this feeling? How do we inherit the mood which is needed in order for us to take the process of Krishna consciousness seriously? We inherit this mood through the association of devotees. Krishna Bhakti Janma Mula Hoya Sadhusanga Tena Puna Mukhya Anga. Krishna Prema Teno Punyam Anga. That the root of our Krishna consciousness comes from the association with sadhus. And even at the stage of perfection, Krishna Prema Teno Punamukhya Anga, one should still be eager for the association of devotees. So the process of hearing and chanting about Krishna is so rarefied, so powerful, and so sacred and confidential. It's so easy, however, that we might just miss it. We may busy ourselves with extracurricular activities in the process of Krishna consciousness and miss the point that the whole essence of the Krishna consciousness movement is simply to give people the opportunity to develop a taste for hearing Krishna Katha, chanting Krishna's names, and engaging in heartfelt Vaishnava seva. That's the purpose of the Krishna consciousness movement. The purpose of our distributing books, the purpose of our preaching programs is simply to bring about this revolution in consciousness. For people to realize that the greatest pleasure, the reservoir of pleasure, we're starting to distribute these now at the schools. We have this Krishna reservoir of pleasure. And it's amazing how people come up and they look at it and they're like, I think I want this one. It's just a picture of Krishna and it just says the reservoir of pleasure and people just grab it. So the whole process of book distribution, the whole process of preaching, the whole point of the Sankirtan movement is to bring us to the point which is being spoken in this verse, to realize that we can never be satiated through this process of hearing and chanting. We can never feel fully satisfied through the process of hearing and chant. I mean, fully satisfied in the sense that we want it to go on and on and on. Whereas the activities of this material world, they just end in frustration. And this is explained by Rishabdev. Paravavas yavada bhota jato yavan najignasya atmatapam. As long as one isn't gaining taste from the process of hearing and chanting, all of their activities in this world will be full of misery and defeat. So I'll just end with a story from the Navadvip Mahatmya, because this Saturday is the disappearance day of Haridas Thakur. And this brings out this point so powerfully about why the process of hearing and chanting is our most sacred activity, and it should remain the center of everything which we do in our life. Haridas Thakur, in his previous birth, as we all know, he was Lord Brahma. And as Lord Brahma, he had committed this offense in this Brahma Vimohana Leela, where he became bewildered by Krishna's opulence in the form of Krishna's simplicity. The opulence of Krishna's Madhurya overwhelmed Lord Brahma's conception of Aishvarya, where he just became completely perplexed with who Krishna was. And this pastime left Lord Brahma feeling very embarrassed. And at the end of that pastime, he revealed his heart, saying that I've committed such a horrible offense that because of my position as Lord Brahma, I became bewildered. In my next birth, allow me to take a very low birth so I can remain humble and always be engaged in chanting the holy names. So the Navadvip Mahatmya says that Krishna directed, actually I don't remember who directed him, someone directed Lord Brahma to go to Mayapur in Navadvip, in the central island of Antardvip, and perform penances there. And eventually you will attain the darshan of Lord Gauranga. So Lord Brahma went to Mayapur and started performing austerities. And then he eventually received the darshan of Lord Gauranga. And Lord Gauranga said, in your next birth, you will take birth as Haridas Thakur and engage in the process of chanting the holy names and set the example for how to chant the holy names. So in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, there is a story of how when Haridas Thakur was being brought in front of the Muslim magistrate said, we are going to kill you if you don't stop chanting. And Haridas Thakur said, you can cut my body into millions of pieces, but all those millions of pieces will go on chanting Hare Krishna. So that needs to be our mood. The determination of Haridas Thakur, no matter what obstacles are put before us, no matter what incongruencies are existing due to our entanglements within this material world, we need to develop the determination that in any and all circumstances, I need to focus, refocus, and then focus again, that the essence of my life is hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and chanting the holy names without offense, and being willing to cry, sweat, and bleed in order for that inoffensive mood of hearing and chanting. Hare Krishna. So we can open it up for discussion. I left 4 minutes, or as long as you all want to go. I don't know your schedules.
Bro, I have a question. You said that we need to bring in a mood of separation when we are hearing, and that helps us develop greed. And you gave the example of Queen Kunti. However, Queen Kunti had the Sakshat Darshan of Krishna. So she can naturally have a very high intensity of feeling of separation. Same for Narad Muni. He had the darshan of Krishna in his previous life, and that intensified his bhakti. And we can, I don't see how we can inherit the same intensity of their greed. Same for...
Well, that's explained by Prahlad Maharaj in the Srimad Bhagavatam. He says, let me see if I can remember the verse. Baba Baba Anukritashayakshati. Baba Baba Anukritashayakati. I'm remembering the second line, which is the essence of it. But let me see if I can remember the full thing. Tat Baba. Baba Baba Anukritashayakati. Oh man, I'm forgetting the first line. It begins Tat Baba Baba Anukritashayakati. Anyways, I'll just explain the concept. Maybe the verse will come to me. Tad Baba Baba Anukritashayakati. This is spoken by Prahlad Maharaj. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that just as an iron rod is put into fire, all the qualities of fire are taken on by the rod. So in the same way, through the process of hearing and chanting about Krishna, and one hears the mood of separation of Queen Kunti, one hears the mood of separation of Narada Muni, one hears the separation of the residents of Vrindavan when Krishna leaves Vrindavan. Prahlad Maharaj explains that through that process of hearing and chanting, one develops the same quality as those that they're hearing about. So one can assimilate the mood of the residents of Vrindavan, one can assimilate the mood of the personalities in the Srimad Bhagavatam by hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. So at the beginning stages of hearing and chanting, Syat Krishna Nama Charitasa Satapta Vidya, Pipota Papa Rasanasya Narochikanu, Kinvada Rada Duninam, Padasvada Dustas, Swadi Kramat, Labatitad Galamula Hantri. At the beginning, the process of hearing and chanting is actually quite bitter. We are struggling with the fact that we don't have taste, we don't have separation. But Rupa Goswami says, the amazing part about this process is that by continuing to take it in, by continuing to take the medicine, gradually we revive our original spiritual health. So first, we need to just engage ourselves in the process of hearing and chanting with attention. And through that mood of attentive hearing and chanting, the feeling of devotion, which is needed in order to attract the attention of the Lord, will be assimilated through that daily study of the Srimad Bhagavatam and through the inoffensive chanting of the holy names of the Lord. So the process of hearing and chanting will bring that mood out. Remember, I was mentioning the mood of separation as our prayojan.
Mm-hmm.
And we can assimilate that mood according to our capacity based on the quality of our hearing and chanting.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Trying to find that verse. Any other questions?
I have one reflection, Prabhu. Just
Okay, sure.
hearing the statements you're making, they're so logical and so valuable. Just like you've taken to this path of brahmacharya, and that's the goal of such persons, is to give knowledge to other people. And it's a simple life, so you're taking on saffron robes, but I feel like this beautiful gift you have to recite verses, and I've seen it time and time again, whenever Vaisheshika Maharaj asks you to give a reflection, or just in general in these lectures, when you give these verses, the logic you state is enough to convince somebody, but when you add that verse, it's like a decoration. So even though you're simple, you're wearing the robes of saffron, it's like you're still decorated by the verses that you're reciting. So Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. That's to the blessings of devotees like Vijay Prabhu and Dravida Prabhu, who have inspired me to take shlokas seriously. Thank you. I'm deeply touched. Okay, I think we can all get going because it's 8 o'clock and it's Ekadasi. I request everyone to please try to increase their hearing and chanting today. This is a great opportunity to get some extra credit and some extra mileage. It's like if you go to the grocery store and you use your rewards card, you get extra fuel points. So on Ekadasi, you get extra fuel points.